You are most welcome. So today, I want us to look at AutoCAD. I want us to actually exhaust it. Okay. So, as a structure engineer, when you're given a job by your client, there are expectations to produce drawings that are meant to be worked with at site. Okay, which the contractor will work with at the site to execute the work. Okay, so that is one of the deliverables. Okay, and that those drawings should be compliant with the building regulations. In other words, you should also produce blueprints, okay, that are submitted to the councils or to the authorities, to the local authorities for approval. Because these authorities are approved that actually your work meets the standard, the required standard in that locality or in the where in the country where you're operating from. Okay, so we find that the structure design programs that we use, yes, you carry out self designs in those programs, but it's only you, the structural engineer, that understands the language, okay, of the program you've used. So that's why in the end you have to generate a report that you'll share with your fellow professions that for review. You generate a report so that they do review your work and approve. Okay. So apart from the professionals, you also need to produce drawings that a layman at site, a builder, a carpenter will work with in order to execute your design. Okay, so your drawing should communicate your design intent. Okay. Yeah. So after designing using our structural design programs, for instance, Proto Structure or Robot or Tekla Structure Designer, eTabs, SAD Pro. Okay. It's always good to come in AutoCAD, or you go into AutoCAD and communicate your design to the layman, to the builder, to the contractor at site. Okay, in form of instructions and graphics, notes. Okay, so this is so that is the major purpose of this. Okay. And then also the to add to that, brand. It is good to brand yourself as a structural engineer or as a structural engineering firm. What do I mean by branding? Is that you should be organized in the way you deliver and consistent in your work in a way that whoever looks at your work can easily notice that actually this is engineer so and so's work. Okay, so you can brand yourself through AutoCAD by the use of a template. In that each time you produce work using that template, that work carries similar characteristics, similar looks, okay, similar properties, organized work. Okay, so So today we are going to look at how we get to develop such a template. Okay, so now this is the interface of AutoCAD. Okay, if it's your first time to use AutoCAD, uh, in this video we are using AutoCAD 2027, which happens to be the latest version as of now. Okay, so when you open AutoCAD, first of all, you'll be able to see this. Okay, so this is the application you're using. This is the logo of the application or the symbol of the application. If it is symbol 3D, it will be a different logo here or a different symbol. Okay. Then this is called the quick access toolbar, which has several tools like create a blank drawing when you want to create a new file. Okay. Opening an existing file, saving as. This is when you would want to save a copy of the current drawing to a given location. Okay, print, upload. Okay, then we have the file, the title bar, sorry, this one. Okay, this one gives the title of your drawing, the current drawing one. Okay, which is also here in the file bar. So you can create as many files as possible from just by typing here. Okay, and you can easily navigate through the different files. Okay, then we have the navigation bar, this one. So it has different navigation tools like the view cube, navigation wheel, the pan. Okay, then rotate or orbit, and so on. Then we have the status bar here. This is the status bar you see down here. It also has several tools. Okay, one of the most important tools is the author, the snap. Okay, line weight, transparency. Okay, selection cycling, and you can add more tools from here. Okay, by just ticking, you can add or remove a given tool or several tools from here. Okay, then there's a workspace option. Okay, so you have three default workspaces. We have three different workspaces: drafting and annotation, 3D based, 3D modeling. Okay, so on which in this video we shall use the drafting and annotation for 2D. Okay, so this is for 2D drafting. Then you can change the scale of your drawing from here. Okay, then at this side we have two tabs. We have the model tab and the layout tab. So these two tabs, one represents the model. One activates this drawing area. Okay, this is where we draw all our work. Everything every component of the project is drawn here. Then under layout tab, these are just pages or papers where we place our work. Okay, So these are just papers that we actually print in the end. After we've done organizing everything, we place it on this paper, okay, together with our title block, and produce meaningful output. Okay, so this is the same as this. So there are usually two default pages. Okay, so, but you can right click and delete, you can even rename, you can copy, can move, and so on. Okay, so you can delete one like that. Right. Then we have the ribbon. This is our ribbon. The ribbon and the command line down here. Okay, so the ribbon has different several menus, each menu with the different tools. Okay, for instance, we have the home, the insert, annotate, and so on. So we shall use more of the home and the annotate menus. These two. Okay, these two. Okay. So under home, under home menu, we have several tools or categories. So we have the draw category, we have the modify category with the sort of tools. We have annotation, we have layers, block, properties, group, utilities, clipboard, and so on. Then under annotate, we have the text, the dimensions, center lines, leaders, tables, and so on. Okay. So under draw, this is where we draw all the shapes. Okay, you can draw a line. Okay, click draw, escape to end. You can draw a polyline. You can turn off also. Also is so a polyline is a continuous line. Okay, as a line. Okay, now you can see that the polyline is selected at once, whereas a line is selected in segments. Okay. All right. So and several other shapes, circle, rectangle or square, whatever. Okay, we have the ellipse. You can hatch. You can draw a hatch inside a closed boundary. Okay, so that is it with draw. Then we have the modify. This is the modify ribbon. Okay, so you can always click the arrow down to expose more tools. Okay, you can do a helix, like that, and so on. Okay, so you can see. So under the modify tool, you now modify existing your existing shapes can move. Okay, so click, move. Click on the shape and drag it to your new location. Or you can simply right click and choose move. Okay, you can copy. So highlight, copy. Click anywhere and uh, create several copies. Can mirror, can stretch. You can scale, you can stretch. So to stretch, usually select object. So you have to follow the command line down. Okay. When you click on a command, okay, the command line here guides you on what you are to do next. So it tells you to select object. Okay. So usually after selecting and press enter, to ask you specify base command. When you after selecting and you don't see any progress, just know that the program is waiting for you to press enter before it gives you the next instruction. Okay, so it's telling you to specify a base point. This is a point at which you drag. So to snap at the exact point you require to pull straight, you turn on snap options here. Okay, but you do not only turn on the button, you select different. There are several snap options. May I prefer ticking all of them. Okay, you can snap at an end point, a midpoint, a center point, a geometric center. Okay, each option has its symbol. Okay, so I want us to snap or pull uh this rectangle or square by the midpoint here. Okay, then you can pull. Okay. Okay, so but that works when this is equivalent to moving. So when you want to just stretch a part of it, a part of this figure, in other words, like lengthen it horizontally. Okay, the best option is to first highlight it from right to left. Okay, like that. Highlight from right to left. So there are two forms of highlighting. There's left to right. Okay, where the selection window is blue in color, then right to left you have a green selection box. Okay, so a green box all right to left uh, is a way of highlighting an object by simply touching on it. Okay, then when you do this, a blue selection box can only highlight an object when it has been uh, wholly surrounded or wholly filled like that. You can see that when you just stop here, nothing will be highlighted. Okay. So if you had used the line to draw that object, Canon also maintains 90-degree orientation. So since this is a line, so to highlight this line, when you highlight this line like this, you can't, because the blue box has not wholly filled the line. So when you do this, it will be selected. But when you highlight it like this, using the green box or from right to left, it will be selected. Okay. So this has different advantages. These two ways of highlighting or selecting have advantages. Okay, and they help you not to select unwanted objects when you are modifying them. Okay, when you're doing all sorts of modifications to them, when you're changing properties, when you're copying, and so on. Okay, for instance, if you're just interested in copying this line, you can simply do this. Okay, if you're interested in copying the entire all of these objects, you can simply do that. All this, whatever. So as we proceed, we shall see the advantages of how to use the two ways of highlighting. So as I said, if you want to stretch, so use the green box to highlight, then activate your stretch command, tap and pull like that. So now you can do the same vertically. Don't even need to actually click or snap at the exact object. You can actually turn off snap, just highlight, stretch, then you can even stretch from here like that. Okay, you can mirror, select, mirror, can mirror this about can mirror a copy, you can mirror the entire object about this point, save vertically like that. Then to ask you whether you want to erase the source object, you can say no. Okay, that's when you want to mirror a copy. You can trim. Okay, so to trim, just press the command, activate the command, and press enter. See, that is called trimming. Just getting rid of unnecessary lines. Okay, so this is also used frequently when we are developing our drawings. Can explode a group of objects or a single object into component lines or component objects. For instance, when you tap here, this is a rectangle or a square. You can explode it into lines. See, and after exploding, you can as well join. So select and look for the join command. This one, like that. So it's back. Alright, so you can array, you can offset, let's offset this by 200. So okay, 200 appears to be small because of the let's try 1000. Okay, let's first measure and we see the scale we are working with. So measure distance from here to here. So this is a big thing. Okay. So I think let's first set up units. Actually, it should have been our our first step. Okay, the first step should have been setting up units and also saving our file. Okay, so we're going to save this file. Save. We're going to save it. Save it in your folder. Okay, I'm going to call mine G4 shading template. Okay, save. So then the next step is to check the units, the current units of our drawing. Okay, so to do that, you shall type in, shall type DWG units. Just start typing. Okay, then press enter. Okay, so the current unit is displayed here as millimeter. Okay, and this is what we want. Okay, you can actually switch this to meters if you want. Meters or inches. Inches is number 1. Meters is number 6. You can switch this to feet and inches. So maybe number 1 like that. Okay, so the rest just accept. Okay, so when you do that, it means you're working with inches. Whatever you're doing, you're working with inches. Okay, so I want us to work in millimeters. So let's type the WG units. Choose 3, enter. The rest, leave them the way they are. Scale objects from other drawings upon insert. No, I don't want us to scale. You can type N to mean no. Match inserted units to drawing units. Okay. Okay, you can maintain a yes. Scale objects in the current drawings too. I don't want us to scale. And okay, then you can DWG again to confirm. Okay, so millimeters. Right, so let's draw a rectangle. Specify corner point. First corner point, click. Then choose dimensions. Type in 3000, enter. Specify width 3000, enter. And click like that. Okay, so this we can now offset off a wall, assuming a 200mm wall. So click offset. Yeah, like specify offset distance. This is the width of the wall, 200. Enter. Click and drag in the direction where I want the wall thickness to go, either up or down, or either outside or inside. So like that. Okay, so you can hatch your wall. Click hatch like that. Escape. Okay. Then lastly, you can break a line if you want. This is the break tool. Break. Okay, you can just create a gap between a line. like that. You can just break a single line at a point. You can break a line at a single point using this. Simply click there. Sorry, break at a point. Simply click there. Click on the line, then click at the point, like that. Okay. So all this is under the modify ribbon. Alright. Then you can array, you can scale. Okay. You can scale, for instance, if you draw a circle or any object. So let me assume I'm having a circle. Click specify center point or click anywhere, place. So when you're drawing an object, usually the first command or the first step is to draw where you're placing the object. Click where you're placing the object. So you can either specify the radius or diameter. I want us to specify the diameter as 3000. Okay, so we can just inscribe this circle in a square. So let's go to rectangle tool. Shall snap at the center of the circle. Okay, like that. Okay, so this snap option has to be on in order for that to work. So we shall choose dimensions and maintain 3000, 3000. Okay. Alright. Alright, that is okay. Then after that, let's move this. Move from here. So snap at the center of the square and move it to the center of the circle. Okay, so you can turn off also if you want movements in diagonal or in angles that are not 90 degrees. Okay, or multiples of 90, like that. Okay, so when you measure distance, you have 3 meters here, or 3000 millimeters, 3000 millimeters. You can scale this. You can scale from 3000 to 600 to 6000 using that will be 3000 times 2. So our scale factor will be 2. Okay, so highlight, click scale. They'll ask for a base point. I want uh, so specify base point. Okay, let's choose the center as a base point. You can see when you drag outwards, it increases. When you drag on the right, it increases. When you drag to the left, actually when you drag inwards, it reduces. When you drag outwards, it increases. Okay, but when you have a specific scale factor, you can just punch in. So specify scale factor. I want us to use 2, so that from 3000 multiply by 2, we get 6000, like that. Okay, so when we have to measure our distance again from here to here, it will be 6000. Okay, meaning our radius will be 3000. Okay, all right. Okay, so but then the other thing you can do, you can turn all this turn these two objects into one object using a block. You can group them actually. First of all, you can convert them into a group by just clicking group so that it become one object. Okay, you can right click and ungroup, or just use this button here. Click, select the group, ungroup, take back to the original. Okay. You can also convert this into a block. Okay. Okay, using this block ribbon. Okay, so we have looked at the group ribbon. We have looked at the utilities. Under utilities, we have the measure. Okay, so you can measure radius, angle, area, volume, okay, and so on. There's a calculator here, quick calculator. Okay, docked here. So you can dock your calculator on the side like that, permanent. Okay. You can actually dock different toolbars. Okay, around your interface for quick access of the various tools. You can also turn off several tools that you don't actually need to use. Okay, that you don't use regularly. So I want us to create a block here by just simply selecting and say create like that. So the unique feature with the blocks that they are saved as part of your project. So you can give your block a name. Okay, maybe you can call this inscribed. Okay, can I call this circle, square. Okay, then ensure that this option is selected, convert to block. Okay, okay, then the units of the block are there. So that is enough to do that. Okay, so this is now a single object. Okay, the beauty with the blocks that after deleting it from here, you can actually call it. You can recall it. Okay, you can see it is saved. It is saved in the block library of this file. Okay, so you can simply tap on it and draw it again. Okay, you can explode the block back to the original format. Okay, and go to the library. Okay, where? Okay, for now, I don't know the default library for the blocks. Okay, okay, the default folder. Sorry. So under the annotation tool, you can create text dimensions, dimension lines. Okay, so let's create 2 rooms. 2 rooms with internal dimensions of 6,200 by 3,000, like that. Let's offset the walls, the external walls, like that. Let's explode this so that we can copy or offset this of 3000, and offset the 200. Offset the 200. You can just type the offset distance afterwards like that. Then the balance is 300 because we had a total of 6200. Okay, let's trim here. Click trim, then enter, then click here. Let's hatch our walls like that. Okay, so you can insert room labels from here. We have two kinds of text. We have multi-line text and single-line text. Okay, multi-line means you can have several lines of your text. So click text multi-line. Okay, draw a text box first, then type. Okay, bedroom. And see that our text is very small. Our label is very small. Okay, so to increase its size, you can right click and adjust its properties. Okay, adjust its properties. So right click, go to properties. Okay, or simply tap here, come to properties here. Sorry, here, expand properties and adjust. Okay, so we have a property called text height. You can increase the text height to say 500. That's too big. Let's use 250. Like that. You can actually leave this property toolbar in place. You can dock it as well. You can see that each object you click on, its properties are displayed. Okay, so these are the general properties of a line. We have color, layer, line type. Okay, then you have a heart here. Same properties, same general properties, then other properties down here. Okay, you can copy this. Turn on also if you want to maintain the same alignment. Okay, call this highlight and call it living room. Okay, and so on. You can change the color of your hatches. So click on the object, which is the hatch. You can change the color here to red, yellow, green, blue, cyan. You can adjust the transparency. I think you can now note that we have default properties of by layer on most of the properties. Okay, so we shall see what by layer means. It means it is picking the properties from a certain property also called layer. A set of properties. Okay, a layer is a set of properties. Okay, why it is done that way is that that is what defines the uniqueness of your template. Okay, by being able to use layers instead of adjusting properties for what individual objects. Okay, so transparency we have varies from 0 to 90. The bigger the value, the more transparent the object is. And see, Okay, so you can adjust the pattern of your hatch from the type. You can change the type of your pattern. Actually, you can change the pattern from here. Sorry, from here. Okay, so there are several patterns. Let's go with that. Once it is not looking realistic, you can adjust the scale usually. Let's try 500. Too big. Let's try 200. 100. Okay, you can see. Similarly, you can change the properties of the text. Okay, you can highlight all of them at once and change their color. You can as well change the lines. Okay, you can actually have a feature called quick select. You can just simply highlight like this, then go to quick select, right click and choose quick select. What do you want to select? I want to select lines. Okay, like that. Okay, then you can add on the polyline or the rectangle. Then you change the color to green. You can adjust the other properties as well, like line weight. Line weight is the thickness. Okay, so we have different weights. Okay, but in order for them to be displayed, you have to toggle on this like that. And you can adjust your line weights. See, 2 millimeters, 1.4, 1, 0.5, 0.3. Okay, so that is 0.5. Quite big. 0.35. Okay, so we have we have critical objects like reinforcements in our structure details that usually require thicker weights, thicker line weights compared to the rest of the objects in order for them to appear realistic in our drawings. Okay, they need to be thicker. Okay, all right. So what else? What else? Okay, so that is it with the properties. Okay, and as I said, you can create sets of properties that we call layers. So you can use this layer ribbon. Okay, and these are the several tools that can enable you work with the layers. Okay, when you expand this arrow, you see the several layers that you're having, and the current layer displayed here is the active layer that onto which whose properties, okay, whose properties all the objects you're drawing, pick the properties of the current layer. Okay, so when you go to layer properties like this, we have one layer in place. So you can create several different layers for the different objects in your drawing. Okay, And see when our new layer picks up the properties of this of the default layer, but you can adjust them. So these are the various properties. Okay, the various properties. Okay, so you can create a layer for say beams. Okay, I'll create a layer for beams or beam layouts. Beam layouts. Just like that. Okay, you can create a layer for columns. Create a layer for columns. And you can create a layer for column hatches. Column hatches. Yes, I prefer using let's select let's select that color for let's select this for our column hatches. Then for our columns, let's use cyan. Okay, let's to delete a layer you use this. Okay, and to set a layer current you use this. To make it appear here as the active layer you use this button. So let's create for a layer for slab reinforcement. Slab reinforcement. Shall use green. Sorry, blue. Shall use blue. Okay, blue. Then we shall so the two buttons you're seeing on and freeze dictate the availability, okay, or the display status of the objects on those layers. Okay, when you turn them off, like here, the objects disappear. Okay, objects on that layer will not be visible. When you turn it back on, they appear again. Okay, so let's first maybe convert the current layer to this beam layout. Okay, let's make it the current layer like that to have this static. Now let's go back to this and freeze the layer. You can see the object still disappears. Okay, the difference between the two is that this turns the layer on and off for the entire drawing, then the freezes for entire drawing. Then we have I want us to we have the the lock. When you lock a layer, its objects can't be tampered with. Okay, the objects on that layer cannot be tampered with. Plot. When objects on a layer with the plot option on can be plotted or printed. Whose objects can't be whose property plot is off, that layer will not appear on your drawing, on your physical drawing. The objects on that layer will not appear on your paper, on your printed work. Okay. So line type. So we have several types of lines. Okay. So we have continuous lines. Okay. So when you go to here, by default you have only one line type, but you can load more. Okay. So you have these center lines, the dashed lines, hidden lines, and so on. Okay. For instance, we can load hidden like that. Can load several line types. Okay, we have phantom lines. We have a center line here, and so on. Okay. Then I want us to create another layer for max span. So in other words, you can create layers for each and every object that is going to appear in your drawing. Okay. And adjust the properties for each layer. Okay. So for the reinforcements, I said let's use a line weight of 0.5. Can create other reinforcements, beam reinforcements. Let's also create column reinforcements. Footing reinforcements. And create Let's create max spans. Max spans. Okay, here under here, I want us to use which color? I want us to use this color. We shall use a hidden line. Okay, so the rest will maintain. Okay. Okay, so we shall keep creating more and more layers. Okay. Alright, so as need arises, we shall keep creating layers. Alright, so then okay, so you can assign now these objects to different layers. For instance, okay, let's create a layer for hatches. Let's call it wall hatches. Wall hatches. Block wall hatches. Block wall hatch. Okay, the color. Let's choose this. Then I want us to change the transparency to say 70. Yes, sir. You can just to assign a layer to an object, select the object, come to home, expand layers, choose the layer like that. Okay. Then under properties, ensure that after selecting the layer under properties, ensure that you can just every property of the object is captured from the layer, so you choose by layer. So you just can change all that from here. Okay, you can just expand properties and ensure that everything is by layer. So transparency. Let me see, how do I change this to by layer? Okay, color. Let's start with color by layer. Okay. Then the transparency. Let's see if we can just type it. Hope it will work. Can't work. Okay, so let's change the transparency from here. Line weight, line type. Okay. By layer. Okay, by layer. From there. Now we can confirm. Okay. So that is it. So that's how you can assign your objects to the different layers. Okay, then as I said, the essence of creating a template, a training template, is for you to be unique and smart. Okay, similarly to the text, you won't keep adjusting the text sizes of each text object that you draw. Okay, like you want keep adjusting the properties of each object. So you could as well create a layer. Okay, and a style. Okay, we have what we call style. Okay, so these we have what we call annotation styles that apply to all annotation objects like text, dimensions, leaders, okay, and so on. For instance, to apply dimensions on our plan here, okay, we're going to choose linear, okay, linear, okay, turn on snap, click, click on the next point, then drag to place and click. You can see that our dimension line is there, but now the text is invisible. Okay, so you could just adjust its properties, adjust its text height. Okay, right click properties, then go to see text height. To simply put 200 like that, or any value 100, 150. Okay, so 250 like that. Okay, or you can choose to create just a style with all the modifications, with all these changes. Okay, so you can copy all these properties into a dimension style. Similarly, you can do the same to the text style. So you can create several styles of text and dimensions. Okay, that will apply to the different objects. Okay, so this will also vary with the scales of your object. So if you have create different styles of dimensions and text that will match the different scales of your drawings. Okay, as we know that depending on the size of the drawing and the level of detail required, we shall be forced to use different scales. Okay, for instance, a section through a column on the slab layout will totally have different scales. Okay, but we want all of them to be visible and big enough on paper. Okay, so you can adjust these properties. You can change the text height as we have done. Put 2 to 5. Can offset in the dimension the text from the line. For instance, 50 like that, or even 100 like that. Don't mind these values as of now. Okay. All right. So you can choose a text style. Okay, for your text. So for now we don't have text style. So just there are two default styles, the standard and the annotative. Okay, so the default style is the default selected style is the standard style. Okay, shall look at them later. Okay, then you can under units, if under primary units here, you can change this from decimal to Windows desktop. Okay, to introduce the 1000 separator. Okay, what else? Under feet, under lines actually. Under lines, you can change your arrow, the end arrow. Okay, from this to say oblique. Okay, you can choose oblique. Then you increase the arrow size in order for it to be visible, like that. Okay, so I prefer smaller one, like that. Then extension line. Okay, so you can extend your dimension line beyond the extension lines by starting here, a value like that. Let's try 150. Yeah, something of that kind. Then can turn on and off the different extension lines. Okay, on this side, extension 1, and on the other side, extension 2. So I want them to be on. Okay, then extension line fixed. You can fix. Can you fix the length of your extension line? Can turn it on, then provide the values here. Say 200 for the upper line, then 200. Oh, sorry. Okay, 0, 200. Sorry. Okay, I want to increase the length here down. Okay. Okay. So let's try 200 here. I think this is sort of an offset. Okay. Yes, extension line offset. So this is the entire extension line length. Then the offset of the line from the object is what you put here. So assuming 100 like that. And say 100 there. Hundred 15. So something of that kind. Okay. So by doing that, you're actually setting your dimension. Okay. You're making your dimension visible. Okay. You can change the color of the text, of the dimension text. You can choose yellow Change the color of the dimension line as well and the extension lines. Okay. So on. Okay, so you can as well draw another dimension, maybe on this side, like that. Okay, if you do not want to repeat what you did here, you can just match the properties of this dimension onto this by just typing in MA, or you go to the properties. Okay, see on the properties ribbon, tap match properties. Click the command line asks for the source object. This is the source of the property, and then the destination is this. Okay, you can drag your dimension by simply pointing here and choose move dimension line, move with dimension like this. Okay, then you can fix. I do not want these very long extension lines. I want to fix their length so that however much you move the drawing, the dimension line now, they have a fixed length. Okay, so I want this to be on. And let me see, 150. I want a fixed length of 150. Okay, like that. So let me apply the properties. You can as well just first select and match, then you choose a destination. Okay, then you can draw a line of having you can draw other dimension lines with the same properties by simply right clicking, by selecting and right clicking and say add selected. Okay, so you can draw a similar object and selected. So I want to draw this from here to here, capture the whole thickness, then click on the ends of the extension line to continue. Keep clicking, continue, like that. Okay, so you can stretch this the entire string of dimensions down. Stretch dimension like that. It's too far. Then you can place, you can adjust the positions of this big text for the wall thickness by simply tapping on the snap point and say move text only. Okay, turn off auto. Like that. Okay, something of that kind. All right, so we are going to create different styles for the different. We want to create different types of different styles of dimensions for the different objects. Okay. All right. So to create dimension styles, you're going to go to annotate. Okay. So here you create styles of text, dimensions, and so on. So before you create dimension styles, we're going to create text styles. Okay. So to create text styles, you're simply going to expand this and make copies. We're going to make copies of these styles. Okay. So I want us to use standard styles. We won't use annotative styles. Annotative styles are styles with a fixed height, regardless of the scale. Okay, regardless of the printing scale. Then standard height. Standard styles. These styles adopt a text height that you manually insert. Okay, so at the time of what? At the time of drawing the placing the text. Okay. Yeah, so you can either choose a standard or annotative text style. All right. So under annotative, the text height remains the same even when you change the scale. Then under standard, the text height on the actual output, okay, on the actual paper varies with the scale. Okay, the height you put is divided by the scale. Now that shows here we need to put big heights because when you change the scale, okay, when the size of the drawing reduces, even the text reduces. It's what it means. Here, when the size of the drawing reduces, the text remains the same. Whether it increases or reduces, the text remains the same. Okay. So all you can do if you want it if you want to adjust your text, you have to manually do what? Change the associated text style. Okay. Yeah. So okay, let's create actual let's create annotative for now. Let's create annotative styles. Okay, so you click on the style, then go to new. Okay, so we shall create styles of 2mm, 2.5, like that, and so on. This is just the height of the text when measured with a ruler on paper. Okay, so let's start with 2.5. Let's start with 2.0 millimeter. Okay, so shall put here 2 as our text height. Then for the font, shall maintain Arial here. Okay. All right, and that is it. So you can keep duplicating this. 2.5 mm, 2.5. Apply. Then create another one, 3.0 millimeter. Just put here 3, apply. Another one, 3.5, 3.5 millimeter. Apply. New. Shall call this 4.0 mm. So let's create up all the way up to 6. Okay, put here 4, apply 4.5 mm. Here 4.5, apply. Actually, let's go up to 8. Okay, let's create up to 8 mm. It's quite big, but let's create up to 8. Okay, so we are done with text styles. Okay, like that. Okay, so to create dimension styles, simply expand here. Okay, so we have annotative and standard as well. So we shall work with our annotative dimensions. Okay, I want to create a copy of annotative. So simply select it and say new. Okay, so this this style, I think we are going to. I want us to label it or name it basing on the text height of the text. Okay, I want us to label it basing on the text height. So we are going to create the same from 2 to 8. Okay, I want us to call this 2.0 millimeter. Okay, then continue. So I want us to use this for all dimensions, including linear, angular, radius, diameter, and also leaders. Okay, so continue. Under here, we're going to modify the different properties. I want the color of the dimension to take the color of the layer. Okay, the color of the line will take the color of the layer, associated layer. Okay, so you shall choose by layer. Same applies to the line type and line weight. So I want us to change everything to by layer. Okay, then since we are using annotative styles, we don't use big values, but we use paper values. So extension beyond dimension lines, I want us to use like 0. 0.5 millimeters, even here 0.5 for now. Okay, we shall come back and make adjustments later. Then extension lines fixed, let's fix them to 0.5 millimeters. Okay, so we go to symbols. Shall use oblique. Then the symbol for the leader shall maintain. We shall maintain this. Shall maintain that. Close the fill. Okay, we shall set the arrow size. Our dimension size is 2. We shall set this to 1.5. 1.5. Dimension break. Okay, so those are ones for now. Let's just leave them. Then text style shall use standard and specify a height to 2.0 or annotative. Okay, let's use annotative. Specify a type to 2. And text color by layer. No filling. You're not filling anything. Then offset of the text shall use 0.5. Then alignment of the text, you shall align it with the dimension line. Okay, so whatever we're doing is happening here. Okay, this is a preview of whatever we are doing for the different types of dimensions. Okay, radius, angles, and so on. Horizontal, aligned, vertical. We shall place our text above the dimension line. This. We shall go by this. Then horizontal alignment shall choose centered. Okay, so the rest, let's leave them the way they are. Okay, if there isn't enough room to place both text and arrows inside the extension lines, the first thing to move outside the extension lines is either text or arrows. Okay, the best fit of the two. Okay, so I want us to always keep our text between the extension lines. Okay. Okay, and I want us to let's take separate arrows. They don't fit inside extension lines. When text is not in the default position, place it beside the dimension line, over the dimension line with leader. Okay, I want us to choose this. You can manually place the text in case you want. Okay, for now let's leave this. Okay, let's tick it. In case it causes us issues, we shall come back and adjust. Then under primary, to precision, we shall round off our dimensions to 0. Okay, so no decimal points. Okay, then the decimal separator will be a period, not a comma, in case it was there. Then under the Under the format, we shall use the Windows desktop. Okay, so that we have the 1000 separator. Then here, in case we have a scale factor, how this works, in case you want, if you put a scale factor of 0.5, you get a bigger dimension for a smaller object, but doubled. Okay, I don't know whether it makes sense, but let's try doing something here. In the primary unit scale factor. Okay, so let's try dimensioning. Okay, so this warning, we are creating an annotative object. Set the annotation scale to the scale at which the annotation is intended to display. Okay, it's fine. Let's go with that for now. Oh, 2 millimeter. Oh, sorry. So this is 200. Now let's adjust that scale factor, and you see what it will show. So go to this, modify primary unit. So put here 0.5. See which dimension you'll have. So you see we have 100. Okay, so it scales down the dimension by a half. We know that in actual sense this is actually 200, but the dimension is reading 100. This forces us to increase the size of this. Okay, the other thing you can see that our text is not centered because of the other setting, which we can actually adjust. Okay, modify. So we are taking back our scale to 1. This is a realistic scale. Then under text, under fit, actually, we don't want to place text manually. So click OK. And so let's redraw this. Sorry, we are using this. So set it current, linear. That can now see that our text is centered, but very small. Okay, I think the scale we are using here of 1:1 is actually not practical on paper. So when you're adding annotative objects here, you have to choose a practical scale. Okay, so for instance, let me get rid of all these. Okay, and choose 1 to 100. 1 to 100, like that. Okay, so now, so come to text, choose, let's use 4. Choose 4, outline text. Type bedroom. Okay, let's choose 3. Let's go back to 3. 4 is too big. Copy this. Or you can also explore the single line text. Single line, you just click at once. Okay, specify rotation angle 0 and start typing living room. Okay, so let's choose 3 millimeter as the text height. Okay, or let's choose 2.5. That. Then we go to the dimensions. We are maintaining 2 as the dimension style, 2 millimeter. And let's do our dimensions. It now makes sense. This makes sense. Like that. Okay, now this makes sense. Okay, actually, the other thing I wanted us to explore is by going back to the dimension style here, then we modify it. And where there is a text style, we try choosing 2 millimeter instead of using standard. Okay, and then we say okay. Then okay, you can see that it now makes sense. Alright. This now makes sense. So I want us to duplicate this like that. So we are going to create another style, another dimension style, and we shall call it 2.5. So we are going to create several styles of dimensions. Then we, within those dimension styles, we choose the corresponding text styles. Okay. So I want us to delete this. Or we can leave it up. Okay, let's delete it. Right click, delete. So we are going to make a copy of this. Click new. Call this 2.5 millimeters. 0.5 millimeter. Continue. Just a matter of coming to text and changing this to 2.5. Okay. Then maybe you can also raise this to 2. 2. 2. So I'll use an offset of 1. Okay. 1, 1, 1. Then, okay. So I'll call this 2. So I'll rename this to 2.0 mm. Then close zone. So we are going to select these tiles, all these dimensions to, we change them to 2.5. Consider the increase in size. Okay, the increase in size. Okay. So when you change the scale to another scale, all those dimensions will disappear because we created them on a different scale of 1 to 100. Okay, but when you toggle this, add scales to annotative objects. Okay, let's first choose 1 to 50. They disappear. But when you show annotation objects, they come back. Okay, but they are still to the previous scale. Okay, so this one shows the objects regardless of the scale of their parent scales. Okay, so this scale symbol along besides the cursor, when it is 1 means the dimensions attached to a single scale. Okay, when you add, you can add a scale of 1 to 50 to that dimension. Sorry, right click, annotation object scale, add. You can add current scale if the scale you want is a current, or you can simply add scales and choose 1 to 50 like that. So this, see, and since it is the current scale, the dimension adjusts accordingly, and you can see that it is having two symbols, showing that it has two scales attached to it. Okay, this one has a single scale. Okay, and see that as you adjust the scale, the size of the dimension is the one that adjusts. Okay, so this is how it works in the drawing window. As you adjust the scale, the size of the dimension or the size of the annotative objects adjusts itself. Okay, you putting 150, it means the drawing has become too huge on paper. Hmm. So the text, all the dimensions, all the annotations adjust according. Okay, so let's try going to paper, and you see. So you can see here when you tap on our layout, on our viewport, sorry, our current scale is 1 to 100. Okay, so when we change our scale to 1 to 50, you can see that the rest of the dimensions disappear except the dimension which we appended a scale of 1 to 50. Okay, but when you show annotation objects, the rest of the dimensions will now come back, but they won't be, you see, they won't be the same size as this one. You can see, so they won't be uniform. The dimensions won't be uniform. They are just forced to be there. So you should always append all the scales that you're going to use on your drawings to your annotation objects if you want them to be uniform. Okay, so just simply go back. Let's highlight. Okay, let's highlight all the objects, or simply simply switch to your parent scale, then tick add scales to annotative objects when the annotation scale changes. Switch trigger that on, then change the scale to your desired scale like that. Okay, so they are all now all our objects, all our annotations are having two scales. Okay, so this is the quickest way of achieving that. Okay, now let's go back to our layout. You can see. So regardless of the scale, our annotations are now uniform. The sizes of our annotations are uniform. Okay, so let's select the viewport, adjust to 1 to 100. See, that is a scale of 1 to 100. And see that the text is too big compared to 1 to 50. Okay. All right. So that is it. That is all with the text styles and dimension styles. So we are going to create more styles. We are going to create more dimension styles. Okay. So we go back to model. So simply do the same. Go to annotate, expand here, new. So call this 3 mm. Continue. Okay, 3.0 mm. Continue. Simply come to lines, simply come to text and choose a text style of 3. Okay, I want this to be 1.5. Okay, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Yeah, that is it. Then we create all the way up to 8. Okay. Okay, so I think for now we can stop here. I'll finish up. I'll finish up the rest of the styles, the dimension styles later. Okay.